All right, guys, we're gonna get started installing our Altman Easy Latch kit here. I've already kind of opened it up and got the lay of the land with the instructions and looked over the material, the hardware, the latches themselves, watched several YouTube videos. There's some great stuff out there already. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to add much to this field, but it's part of our process, so I'll throw it out there on a video. But we're probably not going to change too much. This looks like a pretty good kit. I did notice on this particular latch, this end of it here was off the die when they created this this shape on the end, and I had to create a steel buck and do a little tap in here, a little straightening, or a little smoothing up of this end. Didn't take very long, probably quicker than calling them and telling them that it needed to be sent back. It was just easier to fix myself than go through that process. But everything else looks like it's in good shape. We're gonna get to installing it. I got the right side door panel off, and both my doors, the tracks are out of them already. So that part of the process, that's really the first part of the instructions, telling you to take the door panels off, and there's a window track on the aft side that needs to be pulled. That's been done on both my doors already, so that makes it easy. So I think the next thing we need to do is put our template on and mark the door. Well, let's get over there and take a look. Well, the instructions really don't tell us anything about removing this little doubler plate that's on here. Another guy on YouTube removed his, and I think that's a good idea. We're cutting most of it out anyways. Probably 2/3 of it's going to be lobbed out of there, so why not just kind of clean this thing up? And it's not that hard of not that hard to do if we can locate our spot welds. All right, now I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I might have to take a hammer and dolly and work this a little bit, work out some of these dents. So it looks like there's a pretty good kind of long dent right here. I don't think this is a spot weld, or it almost looks like somebody dragged the spot welder across it, but I think it's really a dent. And this looks a little suspicious down here as well, but let's try to get these spot welds out. I'm quite certain that these 6 are spot welds, and then we'll see what how the plate comes loose. All right, apparently there is another spot weld right there. Well, maybe they did drag the spot welder across those spots, because it's certainly attached down here as well. Didn't do that any favors. All right. kind of seam sealer in there. We're pretty cleaned up here, and we're going to use this screw hole for an alignment just like the instructions tell us. And we're going to line this dotted edge up, this bent over pattern here, with this rounded edge of the door here. So it doesn't have to be, I mean, we're going to mark this thing with a Sharpie and then cut it out, and there's plenty of overhang with that latch assembly, so it doesn't have to be, you know, spot on. It's got a little wiggle room here for where it gets cut. A couple of pieces of tape here just to get us started. Hold it down in the key areas anyways, and then we'll have to move this tape around so we can mark the perimeter of it. All right, we're going to draw straight across here where the alignment tab is, and try to save this template because you're going to use it on the other side. Now, I made a photocopy of it before I cut this one out, just in case things got real crazy, and I have a backup, but should be in good enough shape to draw the other side out. All right, now we got to figure out how we're going to hack all this out of here. Whiz wheel, body saw, whether you're gonna radius the corners with whiz wheel, or try to use a hole saw to cut the corners first. I think that's what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to hole saw this big one here and this big radius here, and then maybe where the corners are a little bit sharper here, I'll just use a unibit, I think, to give us a radius on that one, and then connect the dots with a either body saw or whiz wheel. I have several of these hole saws, big box store, a Home Despot, I think is where I got these, and they work pretty good. So I'm just gonna lay them down to see if it's the radius or close to the radius we want, and I think it is. And once we do that, we can mark this template where the center hole needs to be. That gets us in the ballpark, and we can narrow it down a little bit closer with a washer. But this was how big is that? That's a 3-inch. And this one is 1 5/8 inches. Looks pretty good. Mark that. And then if I don't know if I have a washer here. Let me find the right washer. All right, looks like a number 10. Looks pretty good. Get my fat finger out of the way. All right, that should be good enough. And now we use a center punch. We'll put the template back on there, center punch those holes, and we should be able to use our hole saws, and that should work for both sides. All right, sun's starting to set in the southwest there, and messing up my lighting here in my high quality studio. So bear with me on the glare. Oh man, that's right in the edge, right where that, oh, that might be a little dicey. Where was this one? Yeah, we might be in trouble on both of these. Yeah, that's a pretty good sized pilot hole, and we're right on the edge of that sheet metal. I don't see that holding up. And the other one is right on the edge of this hole. Now we could easily dolly that hole, take that countersink out of that hole by dollying it out, but it's still going to leave us right on the edge. So may have to just back up and punt on the hole saw idea, because probably not going to be worth the effort. All right, well, that was pretty brutal. It's kind of barbaric. The next one I do, the other side, I think I don't have a body saw. I was planning on getting one. I didn't, so I just hacked it out of there with my whiz wheel. And, it cleans up all right, but it's kind of a brutal process, and not ideal, I don't think. So let's see how it fits. All right, that looks pretty good. We've got a little bit of a gap here at the top. I'm sure that bolt will suck it in. And the same back here. Looks like on the back side, it needs to be sucked in. Well, there it is. I can push it in with my fingers, so not too bad of a deal. And where we had to reshape this metal up here at the top, I think originally I said it was on the left door, but it's not. It's this one right here. Looks like it fits pretty good. So all in all, pretty good fit, I think. I think it actually cleans it up quite a bit better than that old sheet metal and that doubler on there. That, of course, I think these doors were pretty beat up, so pretty happy with those results. There we go. Yeah, that's gonna look good. All right, now we're gonna stick our latch assembly back in there. We're gonna line it up with that score mark that we made, and then clamp it in place. And I would really like to use another one of these toggle clamps up here on the top, but I can't get it in there. So I'm going to use a C-clamp. Try to just force this latch assembly back. Shelby, back this direction the best we can. To make this lip as tight as we can while we drill these 2 holes here. We also want it fairly tight up against here, and it is. So I think that's going to work out well. I'm going to drill these holes on this surface, or on this plane right here. All right, I've changed the hardware that I'm going to use on these 2 holes here. I'm going to use a countersunk machine screw and a fiber lock nut on the back side of it. That doesn't really have any bearing on anything, but the countersunk screw on the front side here is to, I'll have to do a little more machining here or dimple these 2 pieces of the sheet metal to accept these countersunk screws. I'll do that a little bit later. Right now I'm just trying to bolt it in there and hold it up tight against the door. But I want a countersunk screw in there so it doesn't interfere with my door panel that I made. It needs to fit as flush onto this skin as it can. All right, looks like a nice tight fit. Now let's see what we can do about pulling the rest of the plate down this direction. About 2 inches off from making that work. All right, I'm going to use the supplied hardware at this time. Like I said earlier, I'll probably switch these nuts over to a locking nut. That's a 5/32 Allen wrench. All right, that's the latch installation. It looks good. Fits pretty well. I think I'll still probably put it in wet, meaning I'll mix up some sealant and stick it in there, take it back apart, clean everything up, prime this area, mix up some sealant, put it on there with some sealant, and that'll keep the water from wicking in here between these joints, and it'll trim it out a little, make it look a little better around the edges as well. We're going to install the striker plate here, and both of these are the same. You just flip one over for the left or the right. I believe the striker pin needs to go to the inside and up. Let's install it and see if we're close anyways. I watched a couple of these videos and somebody mentioned that in one of the other videos, and I think that's what they said. It's been a few days since I watched it. Okay. Just going to snug those by hand, because certainly we're going to have to move that around. And here's the striker pin with the beveled washer on first. Thread that in the hole. Doesn't need to be any more than hand tight. Now what's kind of nice about this is that that's a stainless steel pin. I think we've talked about that before, an aluminum washer. So when I send this truck off to paint, get this adjusted right. I think I'm going to replace these big old tractor bolts here with a countersunk cap screw. I'll probably hold this in the mill and countersink this plate, and then put this countersunk cap screw in there. I think that'll trim that out or make it look a little better. But once we get all that adjusted and locked down, I can just pull this striker pin out and paint the truck, and then put the pin back in, and I think it'll look really good. All right, let's see how we did for adjustment. All right, here's the driver's side door with the stock latch installed, and these are not new latches. They're my old ones. I have cleaned them up and lubricated them and kind of inspected them. I was planning on reusing them, but you know, it is a little bit of an effort to close this door. Now, it's not adjusted perfectly because I haven't really spent the time to do it, but so it is dragging slightly, but it's not the same action as a late model door. So this is what we have. All right, let's see, slowly. Holy smokes. Here's the first catch. Oh my goodness. Wow, that's slick. All right, probably I got a little bit more adjustment to do on the bottom of the door, but wow, that looks good. Really, really nice. Sweet. All right, I'm gonna knock out this left door real quick. I probably won't spend a lot of time yapping and telling you how to do this side. You saw the right side, and it shouldn't be a whole lot different. I am going to use my newly acquired body saw, and we'll see how that works out. If it, I'm sure it's going to be easier to cut this out with the body saw versus the whiz wheel. But here we go. All right, I'm gonna make the straight cuts with the whiz wheel, because I think it's gonna be easier to cut straight with a whiz wheel. and then I'll make the curve cuts with the body saw. That's my plan of attack here, but I wanted to point out that I'm using my new, fairly new, what is this, Bulldog. I think that's what it's called. Bulldog diamond whiz wheel. It's supposed to put out, I've used it a couple of times to cut a few things, and I'm still apprehensive about it. It's hard to walk away from the one that brung you. But this is supposed to put out a lot less dust. I think that makes sense. Those whiz wheels, are always wearing, always putting out dust. Not great to breathe. So I'm going to give this thing a try on this sheet metal. I've used it for cutting I cut a bolt with it, a screw, and I think some aluminum, and it worked fairly well. So hopefully be able to cut the straight spots with this on this door, and then finish up the curves with the body saw. All right, that worked pretty well. No dust, very little dust, and made a little bit of a wide cut, but that's okay. These things are supposed to last forever. I think if they fail, you can send it back, get another one. But so far, I'm pretty happy with the performance of this Bulldog diamond wheel. Hey, not a sponsor either. All right, let's break in the new body saw here. This is a fine blade. I've got fine and coarse, but we'll start with the fine here. See how well it'll turn that corner. All right, well, hey, that worked out well too. Saw works, cuts nice, turns fairly well. Success. All right, a little cleanup here on this hole, and we'll see how the latch fits. All right, let's see how we did. If we got the hole right, hopefully we did. As you can tell, it's been a while since I've did the other side. They had a little bit of rust protection on the sheet metal here. All right, another nice fit. Clamps, drill, hardware. Light blue, I think. Oops, I can't, you're not in the frame there. See where I pulled this striker plate off. Light blue, I think, was the original color of this truck. All right, remember it's 3/4 of an inch down from the center of this hole to where the top of the new panel needs to sit. So it's just a piece of scrap aluminum that I put in the lathe and put a little dimple in the end of it so I could find the center of that hole. And then my caliper is set up 3/4 of an inch. And this is just Sharpie or Marks a Lot, and put a little bit of wobble in this the hole's not quite true. Two pieces of steel that are riveted together here, so not quite a round hole. But anyways, that's close enough. Just scribe the Marks a Lot there, and that's where the top of our new panel is going to sit. All right, there we are. Just like the other side, good fit. Probably, still take them back loose, prime them, mix up some Pro Seal and or some seam sealer, and kind of put them in there wet to keep the moisture out from underneath the panels here, between the panels. But looks good. I really, really, really like the fit. So let's go ahead and put the catch on this side and see how it shuts. All right, again, I'm planning on countersinking these plates so I can use these countersunk cap head screws just to kind of clean things up a little bit. All right, let's give her a try. Hey, that's nice. Very nice. Look how dusty this thing is. Sad. All right, hey, nice. That was a nice project. Inexpensive kit that works really well. Good instructions, and I'm super happy with it. So, highly recommend it. And get busy converting your early truck over to a late model latch. It's probably safety reasons alone, probably a good reason to do it. So, all right, here's the latch installed. I put it in wet with some sealant, and I opted to put some 3/16 rivets in here instead of that stainless hardware. My plan is to paint the door with the latch itself, remove these three bolts or three screws removed, paint the door, and then reinstall the latch with the stainless steel hardware unpainted. And I think that's going to give it a good look. I didn't like the hardware here because the paint is, it's difficult to get paint to stick to stainless hardware, so I just opted for these rivets. I think they'll paint up nice and look good. All right, here is the post with a piece welded on the end to kind of take up that gap with enough clearance on each end to give you some adjustment. The hardware here I swapped out to a steel hardware so I can paint those just like we talked about. I'll remove the post, paint this, and then reinstall this stainless aluminum, the stainless pin with the aluminum washer, and I think that's going to leave a great look as well. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Appreciate you watching. Good luck on your projects. We'll talk to you soon.